In this week's episode, we take a look at how well our Brinkley Z3100 has held up to 2 years of full-time living. Well, hi kids. Welcome to sunny San Diego, California.
Sun Outdoors.
We're at Sun Outdoors San Diego Bay, which have plenty of amenities, including a bar. So
these are stunt drinks?
No, they're not stunt drinks. They're real drinks because I need one. I am drinking a vodka soda splash of cranberry. It's my skinny girl drink. It's not doing a very good job of keeping me skinny, but I still drink them. What are you having, Tony Tao?
Vodka sunrise?
Yeah, it's the same thing as a tequila sunrise, just with vodka instead of tequila. Today, we are going to bring you what we have been promising you for the last couple weeks, and that is the 2-year review on our Brinkley Z3100 fifth wheel. We've had our Brinkley Z3100 for 2 years and 4 months now, and we have a very early model Brinkley. Ours is VIN number 971, so we're under 1,000. Just so you know, Brinkley is constantly upgrading things on these rigs. So some of the things that the newer rigs have that ours don't. The new rigs are all hydraulic. So all of the leveling jacks are going to be hydraulic, and the slides, at least the living room slides, are going to be hydraulic. The bedroom slide is still, those are still on a slim rack system. The other huge upgrade they've done, and I'm just looking at my notes over here, the other huge upgrade they've done is the Kurt touring suspension. It's a completely different coil suspension than we have. We have a standard old school leaf spring suspension. So Tony Tao, where have we been in our rig over the last 2 years and 4 months?
We are 50 miles short of 23,000 miles on that trailer. And where have we been? All across just about every state.
Yeah, it's easier to say where we haven't been. Needless to say, we have been all over the place in it. We're going to go through this kind of through different sections of the rig and talk about how different things have held up. So let's start with the interior of the rig. Let's talk a little bit about the living room. First things first, We'll start in the back. The couch, the hide-a-bed couch. How is that held up?
I like the hide-a-bed couch. It's fine. It's held up fine because I keep the couch cover on it. We don't have any stains on it or anything. It's not tearing anything. The only thing that I did do was I took half the stuffing out of the back pillows on the recommendation of a lot of people on the Brinkley forums. And it made a big difference. I love it. It's so much more comfortable. Before, it just felt like you didn't have much room to either sit or even lay down on the couch. And now you take half the stuffing out of those pillows, more room to lay down, more room to sit. It's much more comfortable.
I would agree. It is much more comfortable.
But it's holding up beautifully.
Yeah, we haven't had any problems with the fabric or anything like that. And it's also our son and daughter-in-law, when they come and visit us and stay with us, they sleep on it. They say it's fine. They're comfortable in it. I don't think I'd be comfortable in it being almost 60, but you know, they're in their late 30s. They're fine.
Comfortable. I put big, thick fur blankets in it, so it's almost like a nest, they said.
True.
Yeah.
The ottoman, which is also the bench seat for the side of the dining room table, that has held up perfectly. We've had no problems with that.
It's held up perfectly. The only thing I will mention is, and this is actually for all the wood trim in the area, and there's not a lot. There's wood on the side tables. There's wood where the TV is.
You're talking the dark wood, like tabletops and stuff.
There's wood on the dresser. The varnish is so thin that you'd like just barely drop something on it and it dings it. So ours have gotten some, the ottoman and the wood on the table have gotten some dings on it. I have a pen that I fill it in, but I wish the finish was just a little bit more robust. Yes,
I would agree with that. Moving on to the fireplace, we've had zero issues with the fireplace. And the fireplace is a nice thing to have when we're on full hookups in a cold weather area. I use it too much in the morning. Tony keeps winding up coming out of the bed going, can you turn that off? It's too hot in here. Theater seats. The theater seats in the living room have held up okay, not great. There's some wear on the armrest. If you're looking at the theater seats, the one on the left-hand side, I always tend to sit in that chair, which also means that the backrest is a little bit broken down for me being in it, but I'm also I'm a big dude, so I'm going to wear out furniture quicker than your average person will.
Right now, it still looks fine. Everything's holding up. I mean, little threads have popped up here and there, but it's nothing that bothers me. The only other thing is the USB outlet in the little area where you put the seat heaters on, which, by the way, I see a lot of people complaining about these seat heaters. Ours work fine the whole time, except for that USB has stopped working. But there's two USBs in the armrest. So
Yes.
it's really no big deal.
Let's move on to the dinette. This is also something, I should have mentioned this up top, that has been an upgrade on the newer rigs. Newer rigs have this thing they call the Dinesk, which is like a desktop that goes along the sidewall with a desk that comes out of it, and that desk is movable, so you can kind of make the desk into an L or a T or an L the other way. We have the old school just dinette table.
With 2 chairs,
Yeah, with 2 chairs.
which works fine.
There's a few scratches in the dinette top, like Tony was mentioning with the varnish. We've got a couple of scratches in there. How about just the overall drawers and cabinet doors? How well have they held up?
The finish, the paint job is fine, easy to clean, and I constantly keep them clean. I go through at least once a month and wipe them all down. On the pantry door, we do have something that kind of wore a little bit because the pantry door did come open during travel one day and it kind of rubbed. It's a small little spot about that big. I'll eventually reach out and get some touch-up paint for that. The other thing that gets just a little wear, because I think it's just the general use of it, is the trash can drawer. I'm constantly cleaning that because you throw trash in there. You're cooking and you throw trash, and you're cleaning and you throw trash. So it gets a little dirty, and I'm constantly cleaning it. And so like the top thing, I probably scrubbed it too hard. And
We did have one door on the island, the doors that open to under the sink. We had one door that we wound up damaging. I wound up damaging because of the way I opened it. It just kind of came apart, but it was very, very easy to fix.
They don't come open easily. I've had, except for that pantry door, I've had one cabinet open up.
Yeah, we haven't experienced doors flying open while we've been on the road.
You have to really pull at these things. The magnets in there are great.
Yeah.
Cabinetry is just holding up primo. That's one of the things I just genuinely, and you don't hear a lot of complaints about, is the cabinetry.
Yeah, no, the cabinetry build is amazing. It's one of the reasons why we bought the rig in the first place. We had narrowed it down to an Alliance and the Brinkley, and when we looked at the fit and finish on all the cabinets and the drawers, there was no comparison between the two. Where are we at? Flooring. The flooring has held up really, really well. We did have one minor scratch on the flooring from the bedroom slide, or not bedroom slide, the campsite slide.
Yeah.
We tried to open the slide one time when we weren't completely level, and it kind of rubbed against the floor, but that's the only issue we've had. Yeah, and you really have to look to see it. That's the only issue we have with the flooring. What about interior walls?
There's been a little bit of rubbing of the chairs that go into because we have the dinette and the chairs have this spot that they go into. The chair is rubbed a little bit against the wallpaper, so there's two tiny little spots. I'm hoping maybe I can get a little piece of wallpaper and just kind of touch that up, because I tried like washing it and I can't get it to go away. So
yeah, it's not something any but one would notice, but we know it's there, and she knows it's there, and it's going to drive her nuts.
Because I'm anal retentive.
What about the pantry shelves? The shelves inside of the pantry?
Not a single problem.
Yeah, they've held up really, really well.
And I weigh those things down. I mean, I have a whole section of baking supplies. I have cans. I have appliances.
Not to mention, we don't get the small jar of peanut butter. You should never get the small jar of peanut butter.
Anyway, it's a great pantry. I love my pantry.
Okay, what about windows and shades? Because Brinkley has an interesting way of doing the window shades. Some people don't like it. We love it. Have we had any issue with those?
I am having one right now in the bedroom, the window next to the bed that's in the slide. It feels like it's tightened up a little bit. So when I go to close it all the way, it's open about that much. And I know I just need to go in and loosen it, the string, and there's a little mechanism in there that has a screw that you just have to, and then pull this. I just have to do that.
It's the bedroom window, the one over
my bedroom window, the one that I peek out and spy on all the neighbors.
Oh, it's the slide on that. Got it.
It's tightened for some reason. I just need to go and loosen it. But other than that, I've heard people complain about these screens and everything. I just love them. Easy up, easy down, easy open all the way. When they get a little dirty, I just take a Swiffer duster thing and
Just wipe them down.
Wipe them down. The Reflectix on the outside, you can tell the heat difference between open and closed.
Yeah. The one thing I have had to do with the windows, every once in a while, I go out and I just lubricate them a little bit. I use a little dry lube on them just to keep them moving back and forth.
I love, they just crank open, they crank close.
Kitchen sink. There's a little bit of some like scratches and stuff on the bottom of the sink, but it's not bad. We have had to replace the waterless P-trap in the kitchen sink because no matter how much you try to keep grease and gunk from going down that sink, some's gonna wind up going down it. It wound up clogging up, not clogging up, but gunking up that waterless P-trap, and it was staying open just a little bit, and so that was allowing smell from the gray tank to come back into the rig. It was a very, very easy replacement. As a matter of fact, I've got a video on it that's coming here shortly. So, and that's something that I think we're going to have to do probably every couple of years, replace that waterless P-trap.
It's been over 2 years and it just started happening. So I think, as long as we stay on top of it, it's not going to happen again. And again, we have one of those filters that sit into your kitchen sink that collect any food to keep food and stuff from going down there.
Yeah.
Like he says, even with that, your pans have grease, your pans have oil. As much as you try to get rid of it, it's still, some of it's going to use all the Dawn in the world, still some of it's going to get down there, and that's what happened. But it took 2 years for it to happen.
Yeah, it took 2 years for it to gunk up, and I didn't do any maintenance on that P-trap at all for those 2 years. So maybe if I just, every couple months go down there and clean it out, then I won't have to replace it. We'll see. This is an issue that has happened with a lot of the very early builds. This has been fixed, but that issue is that the caulking around the inside of the rig has turned yellow on us. Doesn't really bother me all that much, but Captain OCD over here.
It bothers me, and part of me wants to go in and just do it myself, but one of the jobs I hate most in the world is caulking. I'm just not good at it. Because I am OCD.
Yeah, we have to take the rig back into Brinkley.
We're hoping when we take it back that Brinkley. We've heard sometimes they've gone in and fixed that. So Brinkley, if you're out there and you're watching, I would really like the yellow caulk to be fixed in my rig when we bring it in. Yeah,
so hopefully we can get that fixed while we bring the rig in later this year. The Max Air fans, we have had an issue with the kitchen Max Air fan, not the fan, but the remote for the fan.
It's in the little cabinet?
In the cabinet. The button to open it has gotten very, very touchy. You have to push it just the right way.
You kind of got to feel it, and you find, and then you're like, and then it'll open.
Yeah, and it's a quick fix. I just need to order the part, and then I can fix that.
Right now it still works. You just gotta.
You just have to finesse it a little bit.
Talk nice to it.
Yeah. All right. How about? Yeah. How about those appliances in the living room area? What about the microwave?
I use it every day. It's not a problem.
Yeah, no problems with the microwave. The television, it's holding up very, very well. We did have an issue where the color got off on it. It was showing skin tones like very red, but I went in there and made an adjustment to the color. That solved that. How about the stovetop and the oven? I'm gonna let you talk about that because you use it a lot more than I do.
I like the stove and I like the oven. People complain about the oven and not turning on. I just hold it for 30 seconds. I did it in my Grand Design. I do it in this. Click, 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 click for 30 seconds. 99.9% of the time it comes on and it's fine. In my Grand Design, I use the pizza stone because I don't need that in this one. I tried to do that and it actually diminished my cooking. So the pizza stone's gone. That's 2 or 3 pounds. That's going to go in the trash. I love the stove. It's easy to clean. My only issue I'm having right now is there's a back panel. Some food has gotten in there and I want to clean that in the worst way. I cannot figure out for the life of me how to get this grate off. People say it's the gold screws at the very end. I've taken those out and I still couldn't get it off. And I have not seen a video of anybody taking this thing off. So if anybody has made a video of getting into that grate so they can clean out, the grease and the little bits of food that have gotten in there, please send it to me. I will be forever thankful. I'll make you a sticker, a t-shirt, whatever.
Even if there isn't a video, even if you just know how to do it,
explain
just
to
put
me.
it in the comments how to do it so we can do that.
I can't, yeah.
Moving on to the refrigerator. Those of you that have been following our channel, you know that we had a nightmare with the refrigerator over the summer. That Furrion 12-volt fridge was just, it would stop, we would hard reset it, it would last for a couple days, it would stop working. We finally got it replaced in August, I think, of last summer, and it's been working fine ever since, although we're starting to hear some fan noise out of it. So
occasionally, not a lot.
yeah, so we'll see what happens down the road.
I'm in denial.
She's in denial. I don't have a whole lot of confidence that we're not going to be replacing that fridge again. And quite honestly, if it goes out again, I think we're just going to put an inverter in and get a residential fridge and go that route.
But that's not a Brinkley thing, that's a Furrion thing.
Yes, absolutely. That's a Furrion thing, not a Brinkley thing.
And again, we had a very early model, and there was a known issue with the Furrion refrigerators that they put in there. It was the fans were too small or something?
No, it had to do with the heatsink. The heatsink on the control board was too small, and so the control boards were overheating and finally crapping out. So, and I apologize for the sound of trimmers and leaf blowers and everything. It's an RV park and it's landscaping day. Moving on, let's keep moving forward in the rig. How about the bathroom? Any issues? Well, let me talk about any issues we've had with the toilet. The toilet has worked fine. We haven't had any issues with it other than every once in a while the seal will stop holding water. And I just basically I use Vaseline. Some people say don't use Vaseline, use plumber's grease. Just use some type of grease to put around that rubber seal. I basically turn the water off, get some gloves on. You got to glove up for this, kids. And put a little grease around the seal and then it will hold fine. I have to do that about once a month when I notice it's not holding water. We did replace the original toilet seat. Talk about that.
The one that came with the Thetford toilet was a piece of plastic shit. And it had the lid had these sections in it, so you went to clean it and it wasn't just a whip, wipe. It was like scrub. It just sucked. We replaced it with a Bath Royale.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yes.
The Bath Royale.
Toilet seat, soft close. Great, very comfortable. I don't feel like I'm gonna break it and it's gonna crack and pinch my butt. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's a great toilet seat, so if you have the Thetford toilet and you wanna replace it with the Bath Royale.
I'm pretty sure I got that off of Amazon. If I did, I'll drop a link in the show notes. The whole Thetford toilet itself, I'm really not a fan of that toilet. When this toilet finally gives up the ghost, I'm gonna replace it with a Dometic. I just like the Dometic better. It's got a deeper bowl, which for men, that means less splash effect when you're using the toilet. So I just like the Dometic better. I'll replace it with a Dometic.
I just had a picture in my head that shouldn't be there. Oh my God. Oh. Anyway, I don't like how the water flows through it.
Yeah, the Thetford it just hits the back of the toilet. The Dometic have holes all the way around the bowl and wash.
So there's
a
little bit more
better.
Cleaning and everything of Fabuloso, and occasionally I have to go in there and just kind of.
Yep. We have had the issue with the caulking yellowing in the bathroom as well.
That's kind of the worst is the one in the bathroom. I think it's because it's such a small space.
It's a smaller space and it's a brighter space, so you wind up seeing it more. Also, the newer rigs have a black sink in the bathroom. We have a white sink. I think the black sink looks better. What about the shower?
I'd eventually like to replace that sink with a porcelain sink, though.
Yeah, I would too. That's a project for a little down the road, but I would like to replace that too. I've seen a few things online that people have done and went, oh, that looks really
bigger
nice.
Sink.
Yeah, so I think eventually we will replace that. What about the shower? No, the shower. Let's talk about the shower.
I have no issues. A lot of people complain about the glass doors and having to clean it. I have 3 tools that I use in the bathroom. I have a magic eraser. Mm-hmm. I bought these little brushes off of Amazon that gets into the rails. People complain about those rails all the time. It's just a little brush that goes in there and because you have the handheld thing, I scrub it, I brush it out, it all goes down. It's fine. Magic eraser for the doors. I keep I keep a old bottle of Dawn dish soap that I've turned into basically Dawn Power Wash. If you don't know, there's a recipe for your own Dawn Power Wash instead of buying the bottles. All it is 2 ounces of Dawn, 2 ounces of alcohol, and then the rest is water. You shake it like once a week. I squirt it in there, and while I'm showering, I clean the shower, and I have, I can go in there and it's nothing. So I actually really do love the glass doors. If they're getting a little dirty, I've put up a shower curtain in front of them.
Yeah, pull the shower curtain over the glass shower doors. Yeah, I have no problems with the shower. It's worked
Sometimes I want the
brilliantly.
rain. Sometimes I just want the handheld. Sometimes if I don't want my hair to get wet, I use the body thing. I feel like it's an all-around great human car wash.
Yes, it is a good human car wash. The toilet paper holder, the metal toilet paper holder, we have had an issue with that developing a little bit of rust on the bottom of it. It was as simple as just taking it I got a little wire wheel for my drill and just wire brushed it off, got a little Rust-Oleum 2X, sprayed it on there, it's fine. I've had to do that twice since we've owned the rig.
There's a lot of humidity in that bathroom.
Yeah, there's a lot of humidity there. That's going to cause that rust. Oh, the slider door to go in and out of the bathroom. We have had an issue with that getting, I don't want to say loose, but it doesn't hold itself open or closed as well anymore. And because of that, we've had the top rail pop off, and I've had to go in there and fix that multiple times. We also now, when we travel, we take a sandbag, because we have these production sandbags.
We're in the industry.
We're in the video production industry, and we just jam that against the door to keep it open.
Keeps it open. We open the door, we put it right there, and hadn't had a problem since.
And then the last thing in the bathroom, the medicine cabinet. It has a tendency to want to pop open on travel days, but Tony Tao over here came up with a brilliant solution, which is...
I actually saw somebody place a clamp up there at the top, because that's the one spot where the lights are, that if you put it on the mirror and the back side of it, it'll clamp it closed. And I thought, well, that's, but I don't want to carry an extra clamp around like that. I just use a hair thing.
Like a banana clip for your hair?
Banana clip. I already have the banana clip in the bathroom, so it's like something that I use. So I just one day I was like, well, this might work. It's been fine.
Yeah, and it's worked brilliantly. It hasn't popped open since we've been using that. Moving on to the bedroom, let's talk about the bed. We replaced the bamboo bed that came with the rig with a bed from Brooklyn Bedding, or with a mattress from Brooklyn Bedding. Yes, we're not sponsored by Brooklyn Bedding. That mattress has held up extremely well.
So comfy.
We did add an underlayment to the bed. I'll link to that video below. And that is just to create an air barrier between the bed frame and the mattress so that you don't wind up with mold under there. We've had no issue with the gas shocks that open and close for the storage, except for the fact that Tony wants me to rig up something where she can push a button and it will come up.
I want an actuator under there. It's because of the new mattress, the Brooklyn, that's heavier.
Yes.
So lifting that bed up is much more difficult. So, I mean, I don't keep things down under the bed that I have to get to every day, but if you do, it's hard to lift up and down.
If you do, you just call me and I open it up.
I do. But I would like an actuator. I just push a button, the bed goes up. I'd love that.
Yeah. She keeps on me about that. What about the dresser? You mentioned something about the slide being a little bit loose. The dresser top slides out and there's storage underneath it.
That is my work desk. I have the extender that I can slide in there so it becomes a nice big work desk. The part that slides out, one side has gotten loose, so it's kind of little. That's just going to take him some time to tighten it back up.
Moving on to the closet doors, the sliding mirrored doors. The only problem that we've had with that is there's like black accents that go across the mirrors. Some of those have come unglued. It's just a matter of using a little glue to put them back down, or you can even use a little silicone to put them down. That's the only minor issue we've had with those.
I will tell you, this is my one tip as far as the bedroom doors are concerned. The very first day we brought that rig home, I went to close it and I pushed it into the thing and it broke.
Oh, the little hook, the little black thing on the side that locks it in place.
Yeah. For travel. From that day on, The minute we get to our spot and I go to open those closet doors, I just switch them.
Reverse them.
But even if I accidentally push it open, it's just going to hit the wood. It's not going to hit that plastic thing and break it.
Yeah, it doesn't hit the lock. Once you reverse them, it doesn't hit the lock anymore. It just hits the sidewall. We did have an issue with the shelf in the closet and things sliding off during travel.
Everybody had that problem.
Everybody's had this problem. We solved it. It was actually a user, or not a user, one of our viewers that left a comment and suggested we use, it's like a sticky
threshold.
shower. What was it called?
Threshold.
A shower threshold, and it basically just stuck up on there with the sticky side of it, and it has worked brilliantly. Nothing falls off of there now.
I can stack things up there now, and they don't slide off the shelf. Even jeans or sweats and everything up there, they don't slide off. It's just, and it's not that very big, and it's clear plastic, and it works great. The other thing I do is I go to the dollar store and I get the little storage bins for like $1.25, and I put other stuff in there, and they sit up there.
Yeah.
It's not an expensive fix at all.
And it's not a huge lip. It's only about a 1/2 inch, maybe a 3/4 inch at most lip on the front of it.
And here's a little bonus tip for that too. I had about a foot left of the plastic after I fit it in the closet. I put that, you don't even know about this. I put that on top of my Splendid dryer that's in the closet. So anything that I have sitting on top of the dryer,
It doesn't slide
off either.
And that is a lovely segue, because we're about to talk about the Splendid washer and dryer. Now, granted, this isn't a Brinkley product. This was an add-on that we did. The only real problem that we've had with the washer and dryer was on the washer. Every once in a while, it's thrown an error code.
I think it's E3.
And to clear that error code, we had to go in to the circuit breaker panel and turn off the circuit breaker for the washer, let it sit for a couple minutes, turn it back on, and it worked fine. The last thing in the bedroom, one of the USB outlets that's up on the side of the bed, one of those USB outlets stopped working. I just need to
replace it.
Excuse me, cocktail. I just need to get a replacement and
It's got a USB and then a Fire C.
Oh, a USB-A and a USB-C.
The USB-C still works, so I can still use it. I just had to change the cord.
Right.
So I'm not dead out of the water, but the USB is no longer working.
Yeah, and we just need to fix it. We just need to replace it.
But right now, I have the cable, so I don't even need to do that.
Yes. So that buys me some time to be lazy. Let's move on and talk a little bit about plumbing. As far as the black tank, we've had 0 issues with the black tank. We dump and flush. We flush 99% of the time that we dump. If we are coming out of a state park and there's a big lineup for the dump out, in that situation we won't flush, but 99% of the time we flush. I actually flush the tank twice. I'll put a link up here and down in the show notes to our video on our black tank flush process. We've been doing this for 2 years now, and the water after flushing still comes out clear. It's been 2 years, so we could use a professional cleaning on that tank. I'm sure we're going to do that this summer when we're up in South Dakota with our friends Joel and Tanya, because Joel has all the stuff to do it.
Joel do it.
And he's our friend, and we would rather give money to our friend than other people. As far as the gray tanks, we've had 0 issues with the gray tanks. Again, they could use a good cleaning. They haven't been cleaned in a couple years.
Every month or so, I'll dump a little gray tank cleaner in there. Like, I think Liquefied has that, that seems to help too.
Every once in a while, I'll put about 2 cups of Dawn dish soap in and fill the tanks up until I start getting some suds coming out of the sink or out of the shower in the bathroom, and I'll let that sit overnight and then dump it in the morning. That seems to help as well.
I saw a video today with somebody that did that and then traveled with that.
Oh, don't do that.
And they had suds coming out.
Yes, they had suds all over their rig, I'm sure.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that. Tank sensors, like every single tank sensor in the world, ours no longer work very well. They pretty much show 3/4 full all the time. I have no idea how, as a country, we can send a man to the moon, but we can't make a damn tank sensor that actually works. Being full-time, we know we can go 7 days on our black tank, and then we have to dump every
It
once in a while.
tells you.
It will absolutely tell you. For those of you that don't know, when your black tank gets full, what'll happen is when you go to flush, it'll bubble up.
It'll burp.
Because what happens is your black tank is full to the point where it's covering the vent pipe, and so pressure will build up in that black tank. If you go to flush, you'll get a bubble, you'll get a burp out of your black tank. If that happens before the 7 days, then we'll obviously dump when that happens.
We just dump every 7 days.
Yeah.
When we're stationary.
We have not had any leaks anywhere in the plumbing. We do use leak detectors. I'll put a link to the video that shows those, so that if we do wind up with a water leak, it'll warn us and let us know, but we've had no water leaks.
Watch for that a lot, I feel.
What's that?
I'm always looking under the sinks to make sure nothing's under there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and I do a full plumbing inspection at least once a month if we're stationary, about once every 2 weeks if we're moving, just to get my head underneath and make sure I don't have any leaks anywhere. Yeah, let's move on to electrical. We really haven't had any electrical issues in the coach, with the exception of the USB failures. Those are very, very minor.
Yeah, everything else is still working fine. It's great.
Everything else is still working fine. We did have an issue with the Brinkley supplied power cable to plug into shore power. The plug where it plugs into shore power, the cable was kind of coming out of the plug itself, and it wasn't disconnecting. It was still connected in the plug. It was like the sheathing around it was starting to pull out of the plug. Unfortunately, the plug that Brinkley supplies, you can't take just the plug apart and reset everything. So we had to cut that completely off, buy a new plug that we could put on there, and that fixed it for about a year, and then that sheathing started to pull out again, and I had to do that again this year.
Air conditioners work fine. We maintain them. Like this summer, we had Joel go up and clean them. Yeah, they work fine. No problems. No leaking, no water, no condensation. Unlike the Grand Design, I mean, we're constantly having problems with those.
Yeah, that one was constantly, the coil on it was constantly freezing up.
I've never had it freeze over, and we use them a lot.
But we do like clean the filters on the inside every 2-3 weeks. And then once a year, we'll do a full service on that air conditioner. Exterior, let's talk a little bit about the sidewall. If you've been watching our content, you know that we have experienced the sidewall crack. There's been an issue with early model builds of Brinkley's where they've developed a crack underneath the bedroom slide. I thought we had avoided that until we got into Tucson this year, and I noticed there was an inch-long crack. Again, I'll link in the show notes to that video so you can see it. We have an appointment to take the rig back into Brinkley at the end of this June 29th to be exact. We're going to take it back to Indiana, and they're going to fix it. They're going to fix it free of charge. All of these sidewall crack issues they are fixing free of charge. The one downside is it's going to take, they're telling us 6 to 8 weeks. I wish it would be faster, but that's what it is. It's going to be 6 to 8 weeks. What about the cap? Any issues?
I don't know. You're the one that does the outside.
Okay, you're going to listen to me. You're going to listen to me ramble on for a little bit. The docking lights on the front of the cap, there's some covers that go over them, plastic covers. We had one of them that kind of peeled up a little bit, so I had to go in and fix that. I just used some heavy-duty 3M double-sided tape to replace that and stuck it back down. I did that in November. It's now March, and it's holding up fine. Roof, we've had absolutely no issues with it. We inspect it, do a full inspection every 3 to 4 months. Tony also puts her eyes on it.
Every time I go up there.
Every time she goes up there to blow it off. She has to go up there to blow it off because we have a ladder. The early model Brinkley's had a ladder on the back that only supports up to 250 pounds. I do not think I've been 250 pounds since I was a freshman in high school. I'm a big dude, so I can't go up on the ladder. So Tony gets to be the top jockey on that. Those of you that watch our channel know that we had the suspension blowout this year. We wound up busting a wet bolt, which shifted one of the axles forward, which wound up taking out both of the equalizers and all of the bushings within the suspension. This was not a Brinkley issue.
This was Indiana I-70 issue.
Exactly. This was an I-70 through Indiana issue. Any of you that have been on that highway, you know how horrible it is. For those of you that haven't been on that highway, just don't. Really, just if you have to go 1,000 miles out of your way to not be on I-70 in Indiana, just do that.
It's pretty bad.
I will say that Brinkley did save our asses on this one, because when I called Lippert to get replacement equalizers, they didn't have any because they were doing a revamp on the product, so they had no equalizers. They weren't going to have them for months. I called Brinkley, even though they have moved on to the new suspension,
Kurt Touring.
the Kurt Touring suspension. The customer service guy I talked to, he said, well, let me call you back. I'm going to check our warehouse. He called me back and said, yeah, we've got them. We're going to send them your way. I said, okay, you need a credit card number because we're out of warranty. He was like, no, we're just sending them your way. So they wound up sending us those for nothing, even though we were out of warranty. You do need to get underneath your rig every once in a while and check all of the bolts on your suspension. The wet bolts, the bolts that are on the U-bolts that hold the axle to the leaf springs. Of course, this is old school suspension. If you have the Kurt Touring suspension, you're going to have a different setup. One thing I will say on the wet bolts, and this drives me nuts, because it's a great design on how to get grease into these wet bolts, but inevitably they wind up getting in a position or they wind up getting crusted up, and you can't get the grease in it. I have discovered that if you lift the rig from the frame and take the weight off of the axle, then you can get the grease in there. But God, I wish somebody could develop a wet bolt that every time I put the grease gun on and squeeze in the grease, it just goes in.
But then I would miss out all of the swearing that you're doing while you're under there trying to put the grease into the wet bolts.
This is true. If that happened, I wouldn't have the opportunity to practice my vulgarity as much as I get to do when I try to do the wet bolts. Our slides have worked fine over the last year. Knock, knock, knock on this wooden table.
And we still hold our breath every time we bring the slides in.
Oh yeah, I sit there like this every time we bring slides in, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
The one issue that we did have this year, we were pulling in the campside slide, the living room slide, and we kept noticing this like rubbing sound. And I could not for the life of me figure out what that rubbing sound was. And at one point, after we got back into San Diego, I went under the slide and I was looking, and I noticed that there was it had rubbed against something and it had scraped the paint on the wood on the bottom off. I went and I got some more black paint, some Rust-Oleum, and I sprayed that to cover it up. And then I was doing a really in-depth inspection, and I discovered a little tennis ball.
Tiny tennis ball.
For your small dog, not a regular sized tennis ball, but a small one. For your small dog, because we have a small dog. It had wedged itself into the side of the slide. I think what happened was Gracie was playing with it. It got under the couch, or not the couch, but the theater seats. And at some point when we were running that slide in and out, it wedged itself in there. So I don't know if that being wedged in there is what caused that scraping on the bottom of the wood. But we've run the slides in a couple times since then, and it hasn't happened. So I'm assuming that's what it was. And that rubbing noise has obviously gone away because it's not rubbing against the tennis ball anymore. Yeah, that was just a ridiculous fix that we had to do.
Lesson learned. We're usually pretty good about it. If we drop anything on the floor, we pick it up because you don't want to forget about it and it end up under those slides. You just don't. So we're really good about that, but somehow this one got away from us.
And we also tend to look a lot because the type of boots that I wear, when I was a kid, we called them waffle stompers, right? They're the boots that have like the real thick tread on the bottom of them, and they tend to pick up rocks.
So we're pretty careful about that.
Especially if you're in a campsite with the small gravel, like pea gravel, it picks it up all the time. So we're really good about looking at the floor before we move slides. What else do we got? Stairs. So the stairs going in and out of the rig. They've held up very well. We had noticed a couple of spots where they were getting some rust on them. Again, it was just a matter of getting that little wire wheel on the drill, wire wheeling it off to get rid of the rust, get some Rust-Oleum, spray paint it on there. The fenders on the side of the rig, they fade because of the sun, no matter what we put on them to try and protect them. The other thing I noticed at a couple of points where the rivets go in to hold the fenders on, which, side note, brilliant idea, Brinkley, using rivets instead of screws. On our Grand Design, those screws were constantly backing out, which meant that I had to go and get another screw to put it back in. Also means that they're gonna fall right by your tires and you're gonna wind up with a screw in your tire. But I have noticed that that plastic fender piece at some of the rivet points is starting to crack just from wear and tear. So eventually,
23,000 miles.
yes, 23,000 miles of bouncing around. So I'm sure eventually we will have to replace those fenders. I'm not worried about that. It's just a matter of drilling out the rivets, putting new rivets in. It'll be an easy
We're not
fix.
stressed over that.
So the exterior appliances, the furnace, no issues with the furnace. It has worked flawlessly. The cover on the outside of the furnace has faded a little bit, so I'm gonna have to pop that off and spray paint it again. The water heater,
No issues.
no issues with the water heater. Honestly, when we bought this rig, we were a little concerned that going to a on-demand hot water heater was really gonna chew through our propane. No, it has not.
I love it.
We love the hot water heater. Pro tip on the hot water heater:
Set the thermostat to 109 and just use the hot. I hear people are having problems when they don't set that to a certain temperature and they're trying to regulate between hot and cold. You don't need to do that. Set it to 109.
or set it to the temperature that's comfortable for you. With us, we've played around and figured out that 109 degrees is the perfect hot temperature. So that alleviates a couple of problems. The first one being is you don't have to sit in there playing with the water to try and get the perfect heat, especially if you're boondocking, because now you're just wasting water. Also, if you're boondocking, you can turn it on and off without having to worry about resetting that heat again. The other issue is if you're full hot water, that's going to give you higher pressure through the water heater, and that pressure is what fires off that water heater and makes it heat the water. So the higher the pressure, the better the chance it's going to fire, and you're not going to have any problems.
And here's a tip I haven't heard anybody really talk about, but for some reason it works for me. If you want the water to heat up faster in the shower, use the hot water in the kitchen. Like I do the dishes before I take my shower in the morning, you know, coffee cup and stuff like that. It gets the hot water going. And so when I go into the bathroom and I take my shower first thing in the morning, it's hot like that. I'm not wasting a ton of water before it warms up.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it does take a while for the hot water to get to the kitchen.
It does.
That would be one complaint I would have.
You know,
it takes a while. I don't know how you solve that because it's the farthest thing away from the water heater.
Right.
So. Let's talk a little bit about the overall satisfaction in the rig. How do you feel about the rig after having it for a little over 2 years?
It feels like home. I love it. Even 2 years later, I sit in there and I look around and I go, this is a beautiful rig. It feels good. It smells good. It looks good. It holds up well. The rig becomes part of your team. My Brinkley is part of my team and I love it. And I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, the other thing that we've talked about is we've hit this point in the full-time RV life that we no longer have a physical place within the country that we think of as home. Home is Tony, me, Gracie, and our Brinkley and our Dodge Ram.
Yes.
That's home. And then wherever it happens to be, it happens to be. But that is home.
And it's a lovely home. I still love it after 2 years.
With the one exception of the wall crack, Any of the issues that we have had on the rig, quite honestly, are issues I would expect to have on any rig. You know, the old cliche is that every time you move your rig, you're pulling your house through an earthquake and a hurricane. And that's absolutely true. So the issues that we've had are issues I would expect to have, with the lone exception of the wall crack, but Brinkley's taking care of that.
And I want to address something. People say, oh, you're Brinkley sycophants. Is that the right word?
Oh, that we're like Brinkley fanboys and fangirls?
No, really. My Brinkley is my home and I love it.
Yeah. If we had serious issues with Brinkley, if we had serious issues with any product that we talk about on this channel, we would absolutely tell you about it. The reason we haven't had to say anything negative about Brinkley is, quite honestly, we haven't had a negative experience with them. That kind of addressed the last question I had, which was thoughts on Brinkley as the company.
Very happy with them.
Yeah.
Very happy.
One of the reasons we bought Brinkley is because we had heard about their customer service being top notch, and for us, it has been. So I do not regret the purchase. If we had to do it all over again, would you purchase another Brinkley?
Absolutely.
Yeah, same with me.
It's funny, after 2 years, like I haven't done any major changes to it because I love it. But now I'm getting to the point like, well, maybe I'll put some wallpaper up. The reason I waited so long is because like the first year we bought a Grand Design Imagine and we sold it within a year. So I didn't want to make any major changes just in case.
Right,
It's
right.
You know, more protective just in case. But now I actually feel comfortable going, I might hang some wallpaper.
Yes.
I might paint that island a different color just to give it some, you know.
Just to do something different.
I might put something around the fireplace around to make it feel even more at home. But no, I love it, love it. I'd like to add, if you have any issues that you're dealing with your Brinkley, I mean, just reach out to us. We might have a solution. There's little things that because we live in it full time, that we kind of naturally do now that may solve some of your little irritating problems.
Yeah, we're the type of people that we're always willing to share whatever knowledge we have developed in this full-time RV world with anyone, whether it's on the channel, if you run into us in the RV park, if you find us in a brewery, just come and say hi, ask us whatever questions you have. All right, well, we have a serious problem right now, and that is that we are out of cocktail. If you've gotten anything out of this, please hit the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up, give us a like, and if you have your experience with your Brinkley or any rig out there and you want to share it with us and our viewers, just throw it in the comments below. And that's it for this week.
What's next week?
I have no idea what next week is. That's a week away.
Okay.
All right, we'll see you guys on next week's show, whatever it is. If you enjoyed this episode, why not click on another to keep watching? And please join us next Sunday for more Our RV Sunsets.